All right, it's Jeff Mayhew, and it's Politics and Parenting, where we talk about politics from the parent's point of view. So, we had that debate, and everybody got to see old man Biden be an old man. And now, following the debate, there is talk. Nobody wants Biden to be president. Not that very many people wanted Biden to be president before, but when you're a compromise candidate and you're not anybody's first real choice, the tables can turn fast. And the Never Trump crowd saw that he's not up to the task of beating Trump, which means they want to dump him. And there's a faction inside the Democratic Party that very clearly wants to dump him. However, Biden met with his family. He met with Jill, who's posing on the cover of Vogue and doing the View interviews for him and guiding him this way and that way, shadow President Jill. And his family and him met, and they've decided that he's still the best person for the job. Now, he goes out and he does a press conference yesterday about the Supreme Court ruling in the executive immunity case, and he's not good. Like, he cannot fulfill his basic responsibilities. He should not be president of the United States. Now, there is a mechanism in the Constitution to, solve this problem, if you will. What happens if there is somebody who is elected to office who then cannot fulfill their responsibilities? What are you supposed to do? I think, we've talked about this before on the podcast and in the Substack, is all the different presidents that have had, medical issues that were kind of kept secret, Woodrow Wilson, FDR, and maintaining power, right? Well, we have the 25th Amendment that can allow the staff essentially to remove the president. But what do you do when the staff is dependent on the president for their job? Executive patronage, right? They need that guy to keep their job. How do you get rid of a public official, a president who is not capable of fulfilling their responsibilities? Well, there is another tool that we have, and it's called impeachment. Now, the House has the sole power of impeachment. They can bring impeachment against the president, and there's the famous clause, high crimes and misdemeanors. And you say, like, well, what is high crimes and misdemeanors? So let's look at Federalist number 65, written by Alexander Hamilton, to get an idea of, like, what were our founders thinking of during the time of writing the Constitution, what impeachment was, what it was to be used for. He writes, "The subjects of its jurisdiction are those offenses which proceed from the misconduct of public men, or, in other words, from the abuse or violation of some public trust. They are of a nature which may with peculiar property be denominated political, as they relate chiefly to injuries done immediately to the society itself." So he's saying that impeachment is a political tool that can be wielded against a official who has betrayed or violated the public trust, and it should be used in situations where the removal needs to be immediate. This is a prime example of when impeachment should be used. You have an executive who is too old for the job, who cannot keep up with the demand and the responsibilities. You have a convention that's going to be happening soon that's going to secure him to the ballot for another to be your nominee if you're the Democrats for another 4 years. And his group, the people around him, the people advising him, are not giving him advice, the correct advice to step down. They're the people that realistically should be nudging him towards, nudging the inner circle around the 25th Amendment, but they're not. They're saying stay in office. Now, there's a lot of varying reasons why you could speculate why they want him to stay in office, but let's put all the nefarious thoughts for a second to the side, and let's just think on, like what's good for the country and what's good for the Democrats as a party is for him to resign, to step out of office, or at least to not run again. And if he doesn't want to do that, then Congress and the Democrats in Congress have a tool. It's a political tool. This is a political issue. Joe Biden is not up for the task. He doesn't want to let go of his power, and the Democrats in Congress could make this happen. So what would it look like? So 200, you need a simple majority in the House. You can bring a resolution. I think it should be filed by a Democrat, right? Like, to make it less partisan, to make it less, whatever, to unite the country. Like, I think the country can unite around getting rid of Joe Biden. Like everybody, we always talk about how much people don't like Trump, but Biden's not very liked. And even the people that like him at this stage of the game are just like, look, the word I hear in my community a lot is elder abuse. People think it's elder abuse. They're like, he's being forced to stay in this role. They don't really believe that he's mentally capable of understanding what's going on. I think that he certainly has the capability of understanding what's going on. I believe that he leaves sometimes, and in those circumstances, he doesn't necessarily know what's going on, and that's enough for me to say he shouldn't be in the job. Now, clearly, it's not enough for him, and clearly, it's not enough for the people around him. So, if you get a Democrat, an ambitious Democrat who really cares about the country, or maybe they just really care about their party winning, right? Either one could work in this situation, and they bring impeachment charges against him, and you go, well, he hasn't really committed any high crimes or misdemeanors. Well, according to Hamilton 65, it says a violation of some public trust. That's public trust. We voted for you. Well, not me, but lots of people voted for you, Joe. and you are not up to the task. I mean, just think about it. If it was any other job in the world and this guy was showing up to do a press conference the way that he does a press conference and performing the way that he does, he would be asked to step down. And if he wasn't stepped down, somebody would remove him from office. This is the only job in the world where he can keep that. And why? Because the other politicians are weak and they don't understand how to use the powers and the tools that they have, that the Constitution has given them, to make things work properly. So a Democrat should bring impeachment charges against Joe Biden in the House. If you can't get 218 votes against Joe Biden in the House, I don't know what's going on, but I'm sure, what I would do if I was a Democrat, I would gather around 30 to 40 Democrats who feel left out. Maybe they're left out of Joe Biden's power sphere, or maybe they understand the dangers, or maybe they really care about. There's a lot of different varying reasons why they might join in impeachment. Bring those 30 or 40 people together, join with the other 219 Republicans, and make it a decisive impeachment vote, right? And then send it to the Senate and go, look, you guys know he's not doing the job. The Senate would take more than a simple majority. It would take a 2/3 vote, which means you need to get 67. And again, I think if this should be driven by the Democrats, because guess what it does? It gets him off your ticket, and it opens up the convention for another Democrat to come in and become president of the United States. And if you're looking at Joe Biden and you're going, that guy can't beat Donald Trump and he's not going to step down, guess what? Use all the tools in your tool bag, okay? Impeachment is a political tool. It's there to get rid of people who betray who betray the public trust and have an abuse of power. So there, I did just a little bit of research for this. I looked up. There was an article written by Gary Schmidt and Joseph Bissett in 2019, specifically about what does high crimes and misdemeanors mean. And so one of the bullet points in the paper, it says, The key to unlocking that understanding in this case of the presidency is that the office is one of powers whose ends and limits are fixed by a specific set of duties. High crimes and misdemeanors are not limited to actual crimes, but extend to an abuse or violation of the public trust in carrying out those duties. Well, I think it's pretty obvious that Joe Biden cannot carry out his duties. I think that that is a betrayal or a violation of the public trust. And as a citizen, I don't want him to have that job. If you're a Democrat, this is your opportunity to get him off the ballot and open up the convention for somebody that you believe that can actually beat Donald Trump. Because guess what? Joe Biden ain't the guy. We have eyes. We all have eyes. And he's not up for the task. And again, everybody's kind of talking about it in the political realm. And, I saw some interviews today about how, well, the presidency is more than just one man. And they're right. It's absolutely more than just one man. Part of that is like, that's what everybody, is fearful of on one side is like, it's the administration state. It's the administration that has control, not Joe Biden. And it's a give and take. They are together, right? The administration and Joe Biden are all one. They are all dependent on Joe Biden being there to have power. But the moment that Joe Biden's gone, they don't have power anymore, and a new administration comes in. And that's why you're not going to see a 25th Amendment enacted here to get rid of him. And that's why if you're a Democrat and you really want to get somebody on the ticket that can be successful, that's why you impeach Joe Biden. And more often than that, if you're an American citizen and you're a congressional representative, like at some point in time, Congress has to step up and take back its power from the presidency, take back its power from the executive office. It cannot constantly be fearful of reprisal or whatever that it's fearful of, and giving the power over to the executive. It's a president has veto power, right? That the veto power is a negative power. If Congress passes a law, the president can veto it. It uses his negative power. Well, what does Congress do if the president is, trying to write law, executive orders and, going around Congress in different ways? Well, for the most part, Congress does nothing. Well, now you have a president that does that and also is kind of not there. So what does Congress do? Well, Congress does nothing. They have this power. This is a negative power, right? You use your negative power against, and you veto the president and you say, get out. You don't belong here. Yes, that would mean President Kamala Harris. And no, I would not be thrilled about that. However, again, the president is just more than one person, and you have an administration behind them. My recommendation to her is don't fire anybody. Keep the staff that you have. Run the country the way you've been running the country. It's not great, but it hasn't ended yet. So better than dramatic changes. And stay out of the way and let whoever's going to take that nomination run for president. And now you separate the office from the election. And you kind of, yes, there will be a new administration going in the next 4 years. And yes, all of you people that are in the executive office, you'll probably lose your job. But the reality is, the way things are going, Joe's not going to win. So you might as well, you might have a chance of getting rehired with a new Democratic administration, but you're probably not going to get rehired with a Trump administration. So think about it that way. So just an idea. I just wanted to float it out there. Impeach Joe Biden. I mean, there's lots of different reasons that you could want to impeach somebody. Being old and not being able to do a press conference, you could say that's a stretch. But at the same time, they are a nature which may, with peculiar property, be denominated political, as they relate chiefly to injuries done immediately to the society itself. If you're a Democrat and you're out there telling me, the average citizen, that Trump is the worst thing ever to happen to American democracy and he is going to destroy the republic if he wins again, then how could you not impeach Joe Biden and put somebody else at the top of that ticket? How could you not use every tool in your tool bag to make sure that that thing, that person, that whatever you are driving me with fear against is not put into office? And let's face it, if you're not willing to use these tools, you're not willing to do anything about it, then maybe the threat isn't as bad as you say it is. I don't know. Anyways, that's my pod. Just a really quick one today. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed it. And as always, peace and love.